Hi, everyone. Yesterday's news. I've got a treat for you today from South America in Brazil, Sao Paulo, final disaster, Kito Villam. How are you today?
Hi, I'm fine. Thanks a lot for the opportunity. It's truly an honor to be here.
So we met during the Slasher Fest that was put on by Slashy Sue. And I love that because the event was able to connect fans from around the world to meet artists that they've never seen or heard before, unless maybe they're in your local area. How did you guys connect with Slashy Sue?
Actually, it was kind of a lucky strike. We from Final Disaster, we were creating our own online festival, and we were looking for horror metal bands from all around the world to join and make an horror fest event. And we found out about Slash Sue on Instagram, and we started talking, and we made our festival last year, and they did the Slasher Fest this year, and we were invited, and that's how it goes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys are
Yeah.
horror metal as well. How did you get your start? Because I've looked you guys up to see how far back you date, and I can only find back about as far as 2017 with a single. Where did you guys decide to put your genre together, and how did you guys form?
We started officially in 2013, but we started actually making shows and recording for real in 2015. And I always liked horror movies and books and even video games, and so I was kind of disappointed about my earliest projects, and I wanted to do something different and something I was more passionate about. So I started writing about horror movies and horror characters and that kind of stuff. And I decided to put some friends together to start playing. And we didn't want to play some specific metal genre. We didn't want it to play thrash metal, death metal, power metal, anything. We were just going with the flow and making something that would translate the feelings of the lyrics. We didn't care how it sounded, and we started calling that horror metal because some people told us we looked like industrial metal. Some people told us we looked like progressive metal, thrash death, and we were like, okay, what the hell are we? So I was okay. We talk about horror. Let's call us horror metal.
That's awesome. And you guys, you have a female vocalist and a male vocalist makeup in the band. It's really cool because
Yeah.
you play off of each other with the growls and the lighter tones, but then also more growls and screams. How did you decide to incorporate that style to your sound?
We decided from the very beginning that we wanted two voices, two way different voices, because since we were not limiting ourselves to a specific genre, we needed more uh, skills to put in the voices. Some things that Deborah sings, I won't be able to sing in my life, and I have some techniques that she doesn't sing so well. So we kind of complement what we do. So it fits very well in the horror scene because we can play a killer victim, or we can uh, make some jump scares during the transitions of one voice to another. But we don't play something like After Forever or some goth metal bands that goes lyrical female voice and just the growls. I do something different from time to time, and she not limited to just a lyrical. So we play with that sometimes, and I think it fits really well in our music.
Yeah, and when I saw you guys during Slasher Fest, I thought that was really cool because I didn't realize you had a female singer in the band as well. And so when you started singing, and then all of a sudden here comes the other voice, I was like, "Wait, what? This is really cool." So I think it does add a different element to the sound that maybe I think sometimes when you're listening to particular types of metal, whether it's maybe like a metalcore or some hardcore, and it's just that straight up growls the whole time or something, and then you get something different added to it. This brings it up another level. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. We try to run from specific cliches You go to some metalcore bands, they go growls, 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 and a melodic chorus. We sometimes do the opposite of that. We really try to run away from the most expected thing you would expect from us, from any band when listening for the first time. We try to run away from those things and add some surprise to it, because there are so many awesome bands that do those things better than we will ever be able to do. So we need to try something different, you know.
Well, I wouldn't say like it's better. I just think it's that people do it so differently. And it's just that maybe their niche is just a little bit different. And I
Yeah.
just think it's really cool when you get that and there's something unexpected, or then how you guys you're performing and then you just all of a sudden it just blows up. And it's just like, what am I listening to? This is so cool. So it's always fun.
Yeah, we try to do it to not look like a different song inside the same song. It's a little bit of a challenge for us, but I think so far so good, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So what's your scene down there in Sao Paulo like? I mean, what is it, more hardcore? Is it more metal? What are you guys really down there for?
Here in São Paulo, we have more like thrash metal and power metal bands, and we have those, and those are kind of separate scenes. There's people who like more extreme, people who like more soft metal, and they usually don't mix together.
Yeah.
When we play, we are transitioned from one to another, so we play with both sides, and it's kind of cool to see different reactions. The public over here and over there, they act differently, but we have really a lot of thrash metal and power metal, and I think most of Brazil actually is full of those kind of things. We have a lot of death metal too, and uh, we have really a huge amount of bands here. It's kind of awesome, actually.
That's awesome. And I always love to find out what the other scenes are like, because no two scenes are alike at all. It's everybody's got their own little difference. And I have to wonder, because of the styles that you have, how did you find yourself getting into metal? What music were you listening to that brought you to this genre?
Me specifically, I listen to a lot of different kind of metal. I don't listen to a lot of different musicians outside of metal. I listen to some, but not that much. But inside metal, I kind of listen to everything, and I mean everything, from, I don't know, death metal to goth metal to industrial to neo metal to metalcore. I listen to basically everything inside metal. So we are a band of 6 people with 6 different musical tastes, and we mix that chaos together, and it comes out as the final disaster formula. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's awesome, because you do have to pull influences from other things. And I think the style of genre you're doing, it also helps to have those different influences, because it pulls in something different that you can expand upon in your music.
Yeah. Of course, it's and when we create music, the beginning of the band was a little difficult to put all those different minds inside the musics, and it's what's really chaotic. But nowadays, things are flowing more naturally, and I think we are, especially because we at the beginning we didn't know what we were. We are trying to find ourselves individually and as a band, and now things are flowing more naturally. So I think we are shaping up in a very interesting way.
Yeah, and you guys have put out a few singles over, last year you put out a few, and then there are a few this year. What is the plan for you guys? Are you getting ready to release an album? What's coming from you next?
Yeah, those we are releasing a lot of singles. We just released one last Friday, June 25th, and it's called Broken Glass Invisible. And we just released, actually, I don't know when the interview is going to be released. Sorry, we released June 30th.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for my bad English.
Oh, no. Like I said before, your English is way better than my Portuguese. So like I would
Yeah.
destroy that badly.
And we just released the lyric video for this song, and all those singles we are telling a story to release a concept album. It's gonna be called Halls of Despair. It's gonna be released later this year.
Perfect. That's awesome. So then people that are going to come to your music now can go back and look at what you already done and then lead up into what's been coming out this year to follow up into what is coming in the rest of the album.
Yeah, exactly. So we already released like 7 singles for the same album. I know most bands would never do that. They would like release 2, 3 singles before the album and then some singles after that. But we want to work with all the musics of the album. We want to make every music a single before or after the album because we believe in the story we're telling and we believe in the songs we're making.
That's awesome. And it also gives you, if you're doing it as a story, you guys have control over how it feeds out so that if like a regular album, if you want to, if you expect people to do a playthrough from first to last, it doesn't always happen. But if you want to control that story by doing it this way, you can do that.
Yeah, and releasing single after single, people eventually will listen to everything.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's hard for someone to play an album from the first to the last track, but if we give you one track every 3 months, 2 months, you may listen. Eventually you may listen to everything. So it's a nice way we're trying to do that. We're trying different ways to do things. We're an independent band. We're not signed with any label, so it gives us freedom to try it out, test something different.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you know, there's nothing wrong with being independent because you keep full control over all of your music and
Yeah.
how to do everything. It's just the control is the battle, whatever it is between your own band members to do what you need to do. So
Yeah.
with the dynamic of your band, who does the writing?
Uh, the lyrics, it's mostly me. I came with the concept of the album, and from there to actually writing the lyrics, it's something that it should be me. I wrote the concept, and I started to turn the concept into the songs. The music itself, the instrument, the riffs, and everything, it depends. Some musics I do my own. Some we join together everyone to create something. Sometimes our guitar player or our bass player, they bring a full song or parts of songs. That there's no rule there. We just start making until something until the song we feel the song is ready.
Yeah. And that sounds like, I mean, it sounds like from what I've heard already, it works really well for how you guys are doing it. And I like to hear the dynamic because you're more involved than just the lyrics. As some vocalists just get involved in the lyrics, others write as well. And so it's always nice to see how that kind of plays out.
Yeah. I played bass in another band called Hella Rise here in Brazil too, and I have a little more feeling with the instruments than most singers, and so I like to try to create something here or there. I don't just focus on the lyrics, and also from the first formation of the band, I'm the only member left, so most things are around what I create. So uh, it's not everything me. I don't do everything, and I don't even want to be that guy. I know some bands they work very well like that, but I don't want to be that guy. So everyone has freedom to create and bring something, but I do most of the creation part.
Awesome. So what when you guys do just the creation of the music itself, what about the visuals, your videos, and graphics for your art for the albums and the singles?
Well, our one of our guitar players, Lucas Miao, he's a professional designer and he does our artworks. But most of the artworks we have an idea and we talk about it with him and he creates it. The visuals for the videos, it's something I usually talk with Deborah and our the guy we hired to our director to we hire to make the videos. We sometimes join the three of us, sometimes more people from the band, and we start talking about it, and always focused on the horror theme of the band. So we have a direction, but we try to adapt it to our budget.
Yeah, that's the trick, the getting to fit the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And now I have to ask, because Slash you, they're all bloody and everything like that, and you guys are horror metal.
And it's awesome.
The set you did with them on the Slasher Fest, you guys were just not, there's no makeup or anything. In your normal shows, is there like that horror theatric to it? Is there blood? Is there the gore? Is that part of what you guys do live?
We don't do gore.
Okay.
We're talking about maybe adding that to the future, but we don't do that nowadays. We do some makeup, not corpse paint or anything, but we do some makeup. I use something in my eye.
Oh, the contacts.
The contact, yeah, the
Yeah.
contact lens. I use just one, a white one, and we didn't used to do that in the past, but we are evolving on that visual concept from like 2 years ago. From now, we've been evolving on that area as well. So maybe when the shows are back, we may bring something way different and more evolved from what we were showing before the pandemics.
Awesome. Now let me ask you, because this is something that also Netta Brent from Slash Sue has said that in her readings and writings and stuff, that the South America has some really dark stories. In Brazil, do you guys, because you're horror metal, are there any like local really creepy horror stories that you guys write about or that to talk about?
We didn't start to talk about it yet. We do talk about a lot. One specific horror character here in Brazil called Coffin Joe. He Coffin Joe is a character that was played and directed by an actor called José Mojica Marins, and he was the first one to make a Brazilian horror movie, and it's something that he created in his mind, and he dated back from the 60s, and we write a lot about his movies and his art. I'm a huge fan, and actually, when I started writing about horror, I started writing about him, and so we talk a lot about Coffin Joe, and we do have a lot of stories and tales, but we didn't started to talk about it yet. We have something stocked up to start talking about it, but we didn't start yet. We are focusing
That's right.
more. Sorry.
That's right. That's right.
More on the story of our concept album and some horror movies that could fit on the story. So every song talks about something happening in the story and talks about a horror movie or a horror book. We do a lot of references, and we want to explore more our legends and our tales in the future.
That's awesome. Now, when it comes to horror, because you said at the beginning you like your horror movies and your horror stories, what type of horror bothers you the most? I mean, is it more of like the gore, like a slasher, or is it the creepy kind of paranormal stuff, or just like murderous serial killer kind of stuff?
I enjoy every kind of horror movie, but what disturbs me more are the found footage movies like Blair Witch Project and that kind of movie. When I was a kid, I was really traumatized by the Night of the Living Dead, and after that, I started watching a lot of found footage movies. When I saw Blair Witch, it became a fan of the genre. So Paranormal Activity, Wreck, and all those movies I really enjoy because they they don't show anything usually. So not showing anything, they open up to you imagining what you fear the most. And so that's something that I see most people don't like it, but I really enjoy playing with my own fears and my own phobias, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I like that. I think those kind, the psychological warfare that goes on in your own mind is worse than
Exactly.
anything that they could, I mean, except for like the Saw series, because Saw was written off of like real kind of tortures that were done to people. So that to me is just like, oh my God, who could ever think those horrible things up to do to someone? But I think for
Yeah.
me, like the one movie that scared the living crap out of me as a kid was The Exorcist, because I had the attic opening in my room and I can't sleep in a room that has the attic opening. I can't even be in a room with the attic. It's just like, no, we're good.
Yeah, I love exorcism movies too. They I like to believe there is something beyond to be scared of, and those movies that work with concepts of devil and the paranormal, I really uh,
Yeah.
it's nice to watch it and not go into sleep after.
Yeah, see, I believe in that kind of stuff. I've had experiences in my lifetime you just can't explain away. Just there's just no way to logically explain them away. And I've done a lot of that kind of following the paranormal groups and talking to paranormal people, just the people who investigate things and just like living your own life. And I don't invite it anymore because it scares the crap out of me. And I'm one of those, I can't even watch the movies because if I get that scared, all the lights in the house are on and I'm up like eyes like saucers all night long.
Yeah, I'm a kind of guy that don't understand people in horror movies when they don't turn on the lights.
or or let's go in
I
and keep going when we know we should be running
yeah,
the other way.
yeah. I don't understand those kind of people. I get home, I light up everything, then I start doing anything I should do.
Yeah. Yeah, like you get if like I've lived in some really creepy houses in my lifetime where bad things that happen and you can just walk in and feel the energy of a house just changes and it's just there's something malevolent there and it's not a fun feeling and I've just learned you have to live with it sometimes and but you don't invite the trauma and that I think that's where a lot of these stories come from, the trauma that gets invited to or
Yeah,
people that just really want to go to these
definitely.
places. And some of these stories that you hear that have been put into movies, you wonder how much it was, added to it versus what was the real part of it. And just even the real part of it is scary enough on its own. So, and that's what you guys are talking about with horror metal. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. We saw a lot of horror metal bands that talk about I don't know, Jason Voorhees or anything. We talk about how we feel when watching those movies. We
yeah,
focus on the personal experience, and that's exactly what you just told. You have a feeling, a sensation that's not fun, that's not funny, that's something that warns you to stay away, and sometimes you don't stay away, and that's when things start to go down. And
yeah.
that's the kind of thing we talk about.
Yeah, I mean, where I live right now, we have a room in our house we don't use because it has that really like just a really strange feeling to it. And sometimes at night, you'll walk through the house and it's almost like you see somebody standing out there. And it's like, we just have
Oh.
come to accept that that's a room that's off limits and nobody goes in there. We just don't go in there. It just,
You just respect it.
yeah.
That's
And that's the thing. We can all live together. We don't have to aggravate it. And I think if
you
I've
stay
learned
there, I stay here, everything it's okay.
if I learned anything from all those, the Ghost Hunters International, all those investigative guys, be respectful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, because I don't think there's any place in this world where you can go to that it's not fresh, unhallowed ground. I mean, we've lived for so long that things have happened everywhere you go, and there's some sort of footprint or trace of something. And I think people sometimes
Yeah,
look at me and think I'm weird for saying that, but I think that there's just things you just can't explain away, and that there's got to be something else out there in the universe bigger than what we are. You don't know. We don't know. There's no definitive answer. So,
exactly. There's no answer, and there may not be an answer ever.
yeah.
So there's a lot of tales that that basically warn you to be afraid of what you don't understand. You don't need to be afraid, just respect it.
Yeah.
Respect your limits and just stay away. If you don't understand, don't mess with it.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily need to be afraid or scared of it. Just stay away and respect it.
Yeah, just having mutual respect, and I think that that can carry through in just walking everyday life around other human beings. Just be respectful, and
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
lot less horrible things will happen if you just respect other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else can you guys or can you tell me that you want people to know about your music to bring them to you guys?
Well, we're gonna release our concept album, Halls of Despair. We're talking about a story. Our story is about a serial killer that starts to be haunted by his victims, and that there's a lot of plot twists over here and there. And I don't want to get a lot into details, but there's something going on inside his mind and everything. So I hope people will focus on the story and try to dig deeper, because there's a lot of hidden meanings in everything we're trying to do over there, here and there. And we just released our new single, Broken Glass Invisible, and we're gonna release another single in August called Things to Come. And just hope people connect to us, follow us on our social media. Instagram is Final Disaster Official. Our Facebook is it's Final Disaster. We have our Final Disaster Official channel on YouTube too, and we are making videos for every song and posting a lot. And I hope people stay tuned and try to dig deeper into our story, because we are putting a lot of effort into it, and I think it's turning out to be really, really great. Yeah, it's not because I'm from the band, but I like to listen to the songs. I'm really enjoying the final product that's coming together. So, and I just started writing a book about the story we are creating. So it maybe another product or another thing we're gonna release along with the album, or maybe later. I don't know. Never wrote a book before, so I don't know how long I'm gonna take to actually write it. So that's basically that. That's basically us, Final Disaster. We are a band that's trying to do something different. You may like it, you may not like it. Just try it out and see how it goes.
Absolutely. And I think that you'll have a lot of draw because there are a lot of people out there fan wise that are looking for something a little bit different that hasn't been done before. And I know there's just overwhelming kind of growth from this genre that people are sinking their teeth into, because it's kind of like that fan fiction of, you've got the horror, but then it's not always completely fiction. So it's a little bit of that can be truth and scary and set to really good music. And I think that just engages people more because it gives them more fandom to have.
Yeah, for sure. You're totally right about it. Horror has this different appealing to things. It's a different genre of movies. It's a different genre of video games, of books, of anything that works with horror is something different. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make horror into metal. You know, I saw I wrote no I was reading an interview with Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath, and he was talking that he had the idea to make Black Sabbath when he saw people entering the movies to watch a horror movie, and he was like, why don't we make horror music? And Black Sabbath is something that has this energy, and we are trying to do that 2021 wise, something from nowadays. We're trying to make something. I won't say we're trying to make something new, but we're trying to find different ways to make things.
Yeah, like a different expressive type of music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's cool because really, I mean, like over the years, the growth for horror love has just grown and grown and grown. I mean, we've seen epic times with things like The Walking Dead that have come, and like it's just been going on TV for years now. And people have these up here in the States. We have these big conventions for horror, and so and then we've also got the comic conventions that also they bleed into that horror, and it's something that's not going away, and it's something people like that escapism, and that some people like to just be scared, and I'm not one of them, but like I'm not sure down there, do you guys have in October, do you guys have any of the harvest festivals, or they like we celebrate Halloween up here, and I'm not sure what you guys celebrate down there, but we have these corn mazes, and they make these horror corn mazes where people jump out at you with chainsaws and axes, and they chase you, and they actually
that's amazing. I never heard about it.
Oh, they have this. We have two of them. We have something called Stalker Farms and Maris Farms, and they have a sign up that says if you suffer from any kind of heart condition or severe anxiety condition, that you cannot go through their mazes because they're that terrifying. And one of my friends said that they were they went there, and I thought maybe I might go with them, and she says I'm going to go, and she says, oh my god, they chased me with the chainsaw. I said, I would have died right there. I would have just dropped dead.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. We do celebrate Halloween and the Day of the Dead in November, and but they are smaller celebrations. Brazil is more about Carnival and the June festivals in June, and they are more about partying and drinking. And in June, it's a lot about it's our winter in June, so it's a lot about drinking hot beverages and eating a lot because it's cold. So, and we don't have a lot of horror themed holidays or anything. And sometimes there are a few things happening around Halloween, but that's it. So
you should start a corn maze. Start a horror corn maze.
That's an amazing
You would
idea.
scare the shit out of people down there.
I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna actually look into that.
I thought the haunted houses were bad until this was put in front of me, and I was like, that's worse.
We have haunted houses here, but they are more for children. We don't have something that it's really scary. I've seen a few movies about haunted houses, like Hell House and others. I don't remember the names.
Amityville Horror and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I was like, do they have that really? Because that would be amazing here. I would love it.
It would be terrifying. Terrifying.
That sounds amazing. I'm gonna look into those labyrinths you told.
Yeah, and I think another thing up here that's really big, like with the horror scene, is the paranormal. They do these paranormal tours, and people go all over the place, and they travel to go to really haunted, like old mental hospitals where they've closed them down, but where people were basically kind of tortured in these old hospitals. I'm not okay with that.
We have some excursions and some trips like that. Yeah, we have we have some of those.
Yeah. Well, now you have an idea. You can do a labyrinth of your own, a corn maze or labyrinth that just scare the hell out of people.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
That means like Saw level kind of maze.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, the Saw movies, the one of the Saw movies that got me the worst was where the person reached their hands up to get, I can't remember what was inside of the container, but their hands are in there, and the knives that the only way they could get their hands out was to pull their hands down and like shred them. I'm like, yeah, no, that and the needle pit. No, we're good.
No, the needle pit. No,
the psychological warfare was really, really good.
No, that needle pit was heavy.
Yeah,
that needle pit was
insane. Well,
I don't always close my eyes or turn away from the movie, but that needle pit, come on,
that's that people are terrified of needles. That's just, that's, I used to work in the medical field, and people would come in to draw blood, and they would just be like passing out almost. And I was like, no, you're going to be okay. And they're like, no, you don't get it. And I'm like, it's just a needle, but that many needles is too many needles. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's been really great talking with you guys. I've been talking with Kito Villam from Final Disaster. They are on Spotify. They've got some great new music out there. Find them on YouTube, Facebook. Connect with them. They've got an album coming later this year. You want to hear this. It's horror metal and it's so good. Thanks so much for your time. And, I'm always happy to bring new bands around to a different area where you guys have not had any access to us. And so I'm hoping people will really take a dig into what you guys are doing because I really enjoyed it. And that's why we are talking now. So, guys, Final Disaster, look them up today. Kito, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. It's really an honor to be here. And I would like to ask people to follow us, to stay tuned on our news, and to hit like here in this video, to subscribe to this channel, because the work you're doing, it's amazing, and the bands, they need it, and it's amazing to have some channels and media doing it in such a nice quality. And they are rare. It's not something you find everywhere on YouTube. So what you're doing, it's amazing, and we need it. And thanks a lot for the opportunity. It's really, really an honor. And subscribe to the channel and support Diane, because the work she's doing is amazing. And follow us, Final Disaster from Brazil. Hope you like our music. That's it. Let's rock.